Hello, dear student. Myself, Professor Ashok Kumar. You are welcome to my video lectures. And today, as a part of that video lecture, we are going to discuss a very essential and very important chapter, that is chapter number 2, Moment of Inertia. Basically, this chapter comes in Fundamental of Machine Design subject, which is taking inside the fourth semester degree mechanical engineering. In order to move in analysis side and derivation of a few relations, it's better to start with an introduction. Basically, you should know first about the moment of inertia. Or simple, you have listened numbers of time term inertia or inertia force. But what is the exactly it mean as a respect with the engineering concepts? So basically, inertia is defined as second moments of any physical quantity about reference axis is called a moment of inertia. It's simple and very sober definition of moment of inertia. Look at the screen diagram, top right hand side diagram. There is a one spanner, and at the end there is a lateral force F is applied. Length of spanner is d, and due to that force and the perpendicular distance, there will be a clockwise moment that is set up at the other end of spanner, that means over here. And this is required in order to loose or open the ball. So we can say that over here, just the moment will become m is equal to force into perpendicular distance. That means F into D. So in short, I can say that this is the first moment of a force that I have taken to open bolt. Similarly, if you are taking two times the moment, or if you are multiplying the distance with two times to any physical property, it will become a second moment and ultimately known as a moment of inertia. Over here, in case of spanner, physical property we have selected is a force, but it's not necessary that always you require to have the physical property force F. You may also choose the area, volume, or even the mass or the weight. So ultimately, second moment will become first moment multiply with perpendicular distance again. So it will become a force into distance, or weight into distance, or area into distance. It's depend on which property or parameter you have selected. Now look at the bottom side diagram. You have given one object, irregular shape object, and center of gravity that is located over here. Uh, there is a one small area is also selected, which is located at distance y from the x-axis and distance x from the y-axis. Now, in order to calculate the moment of inertia of this particular element dA, that means this, just you have to multiply the distance with particular physical parameter two times. So over here, suppose you require to calculate the moment of inertia about this axis, that means x-axis, then it will become Ix. And the over here area is equal to dA, and multiplication will become y into y, that means dA into y no square. Similarly, you can also prefer the y-axis and calculate the moment of inertia about y-axis in similar manner. So this is what about the moment of inertia concept. And over here, suppose you require to calculate moment of inertia about an axis which is perpendicular to axis x and y, that means z axis. So it will become ultimately polar axis. So over here, polar axis, or the moment of inertia about polar axis will definitely become the summation of moment of inertia about x and y axis. So this is what the moment of inertia and its basic relation with distance and axis is. Now, topic number 2, that is moment of inertia and Newton's law of motion. That means it represents the relation between Newton's law of motion and moment of inertia. Actually, as per the Newton's law, whenever any body which is either in static condition or it is in moving, and you require to change its angular or linear position, at least you have to apply some external forces, and then its angular or linear position can be possible to change. So what the Newton said, the when a body is free to rotate around an axis, definitely a torque is required. Suppose, look at the bottom side diagram. Suppose this is the body A and this is body B. Body B is filled with sand or some kind of dense material. And suppose you require to move it or you require to rotate in either direction. Uh, you require to apply some kind of force or torque over here. So suppose you are applying force over here, so ultimately it will become force into perpendicular distance, that means torque. So what Newton said about rotating member 2, in order to change the angular or rotating position of any body, you have to apply an external load or external torque. So this is what the statement Newton's law of motion, torque is equal to moment of inertia of the body. This is so because whenever you are applying torque, uh, the change of angular position of body takes place, and this change requires some external torque or force, which is always being equal to moment of inertia of that body. Look at the left hand side diagram. You have given one football, and until and unless you are not kicking that ball on outer surface of ball, it will the ball will not change its angular position. So ultimately, unless and until if body is not acted upon by any external force or torque, body will not change its the angular or linear or geometric position, and whatever the force or torque, generally torque is required to change this, is always equal to moment of inertia of that particular body. Generally, if we are talking about the characteristic of moment of inertia, then it's it's the kind of measure of an object's resistance. That means, suppose any body or any machine component having the higher moment of inertia, then it strictly indicates that the object resistance, or it will offer more resistance to change its position. It also define the capacity of cross section to resist the bending. That means, suppose any object has the higher moment of inertia, that it clearly means that it indicates or it defines the resistance capacity of that particular cross section against the external loading. Also, always moment of inertia will be specified with respect to the axis of rotation only. That means, suppose there is a one shaft and there is a one circular flywheel is mounted. So over here, axis of rotation is the key or reference line through and about which moment of inertia should be selected or calculated. And generally, unit for the moment of inertia is always meter raised to 4 or kilogram into meter raised to square. Now, third topic, and it is very much essential and important for you guys to have the moment of inertia chapter learning in depth and analysis, and that is the radius of gyration. Generally, it is defined as the radial distance to a point which would have the same moment of inertia as the body's actual distribution of mass if the total mass of the body were concentrated. That means, suppose you have given any irregular type of body, and you are measuring its moment of inertia through its CG like that. That you have to, this is your first part, that what you have did, you have just calculate irregular shape body about its center of gravity and calculated moment of inertia. Secondly, what you should to do, you have to just sectionize this entire body, like section 1, section 2 and section 3, and you have to individually calculate moment of inertia of each section. I1, section 2 represent I2 and section 3 represent I3. By summing all that I1 to I3 or whatsoever the numbers of the section you have made, is always equal to initially what you have calculated moment of inertia of entire body. That means this. So this is what the distance it refers, or at least by calculating both of that relation, you will realize that there is a one common distance uh, in a body through which the moment of inertia will remain same in case 1 and case 2. Suppose this is such a distance, and this distance if denoted by k, then it represents that at the distance k, if you are calculating the moment of inertia of entire body, and it will be if you are equating that moment of inertia of body at distance k to individually calculated moment of inertia of sectionize the body parts or body section, then this distance will be known as a radius of gyration. In short, I will say that the distance at which the moment of inertia will remain same throughout the section or sectionalize this section, it will be known as a radius of gyration. And mathematically, it is known as under root I upon A. Then its application, it is radius of gyration is used for the structural engineering, molecular application too, and some mechanics are also included where the radius of gyration finds its application. Then after there is a two famous theorem which is frequently asked in your examination, internal or external examination. The theorem is parallel axis theorem and perpendicular axis theorem. So we should start with the first theorem, that is parallel axis theorem. And statement of the parallel axis theorem is that the moment of area of an object about any axis parallel to the centroidal axis is the summation of moment of inertia about its centroidal axis and the product of area with the square of distance of from the reference axis. In short, in conclusion way, it states like, suppose you have any reference axis like that AB, and it should be parallel with the centroidal axis. And suppose you require to calculate the moment of inertia of this circular section other than centroidal axis, that means this axis. So just it becomes equal to always the summation of the whatever the moment of inertia about this circular section about this centroidal axis, plus you have to take the product of area, and so you have to also take the distance of CG to the reference axis through which you require to calculate moment of inertia. Distance should be taken as a square. So ultimately, we can say that this theorem is applicable for the axis other than centroidal axis, but the condition is that the axis that you have selected for the calculated moment of inertia should be always, not should be, must be the parallel to the centroidal axis. So mathematically, the moment of inertia about any axis, let's take it as AB axis. So AB axis, a moment of inertia about AB axis is always equal to summation of moment of inertia about its centroidal axis. That means this, it represent IG plus a product of area of that particular section, that means this area, and square of distance, that means this square of distance from the centroidal axis to the axis that you have selected for the calculation of moment of inertia, that means h square. So this is mathematical equation, and let's derive how it can be derived. Well, first of all, kindly consider a small element, say it the xy or AB, whatso you want, and calculate the moment of inertia of this small elemental area about the centroidal axis. So it will become area into distance no square. This is as per the definition of moment of inertia. Now, in order to calculate moment of inertia about the AB axis, just you require to have an integration of these terms. So over here, delta A and the distance become h plus y. So ultimately, you need to calculate the moment of inertia of AB about AB axis of this particular small elemental area. So it will become delta A into bracket H plus phi no square. But now in place of this small elemental area, suppose you require to calculate the entire circular section's moment of inertia about AB axis. That means this axis. At that time, you have to make just a simple an integration and integration with respect to area and distance no square. So by simplifying that relation, separating out this brackets, you will have h square plus y square plus 2hy, and individually multiplying this term delta with terms inside the bracket, you will have this. But ultimately, we know that uh, by integrating these terms, you will have delta A become small a that means area of circular section, and h square will become h square. Over here, delta A into y no square, we know that that is nothing other than the area. It is multiplied with 2 times the distance, so it will become moment of inertia. And this term is no longer stand as compared to both of first two terms. It can be neglected. So over here, it will be neglected. So ultimately, your equation will become IAB is equal to AH square plus I into G. So this is what about the parallel axis theorem and its derivation. Now similar theorem has been also used and asked numbers of time in your exam, that is the perpendicular axis theorem. Let's look at this statement. The moment of inertia of a planar lamina about an axis perpendicular to the plane of lamina is always equal to the sum of the moments of inertia of the lamina about the two axes at right angle to each other. In short, suppose this is lamina, and you require to calculate a moment of inertia about axis which is perpendicular to the axis of both of the axis of lamina. That means this axis becomes perpendicular to the this axis x-axis and this axis y-axis too. And suppose you require to calculate moment of inertia about z-axis, that means Iz, then simply it becomes the summation of moment of inertia that you have calculated about x-axis and moment of inertia about y-axis. So just you have to make simply summation of both of the equation, and this statement is also gives us the relation between the moment of inertia in z-axis, moment of inertia about x-axis, and moment of inertia about y-axis. Let's first prove that the relation is true, or how the relation can be derived. From the geometry, there is a one plane lamina you have given, and orientation point is O, from where x, y, and z axis are specified. Now, consider a point P which is located at a distance x from the y-axis, distance y from the x-axis, and distance r from the z-axis. Okay. Now, with the help of trigonometric relation, we can write that r square is always equal to x square plus y square. Well, once you have specified that relation, kindly calculate the moment of inertia about z-axis, and it's very simple. Izz is equal to area into distance no square, perpendicular distance, and perpendicular distance is r. So over here, area is becomes delta A, and perpendicular distance will become r no square. So just you have to replace r square by x square into y square over here. By putting that value of r square is equal to s square plus y square and separating out, you will have delta a square uh, plus delta a y square, and both of the delta a x square represent the moment of inertia about x-axis, whereas delta a into y square represent moment of inertia about y-axis. So ultimately, both of the terms will be replaced by ixx and iyy. So ultimately, we can say that Izz is equal to Ixx plus Iyy. In short, z-axis represent polar axis, which is always perpendicular to both of the axes x and y, And suppose you require to calculate anywhere moment of inertia about polar axis or z axis, just you have to calculate moment of inertia about x axis and y axis. You have to sum up both of the moment of inertia, you will have the moment of inertia about polar or z axis. Now let's derive some regular shape moment of inertia relation. First of all, we should start with the rectangular section. Look at the screen. You have given one rectangular cross section having width b and depth h. Now we require to calculate moment of inertia about centroidal axis. Actually, it's not necessary that you have to always calculate moment of inertia through centroidal axis. You can calculate moment of inertia about any axis. Either it will be within the cross section, within neutral axis, or out of the cross section. There will be no any kind of limitation about the axis that you have chosen. So over here, we will practice and derive the relation about moment of inertia about the centroidal axis. So from the diagram, first of all, you have to uh, select one small a layer. Suppose that is the PQ or XY, what you require to calculate, having the area, having the depth is dy and width is equal to b. So, and generally you have selected the layer which is located at a distance y from the centroidal axis. So this is initial portion that you have to take care. Now, after considering that layer, just calculate area of that small layer that you have selected, and that will become b into dy. That means this area will be the area of small element that you have selected. Now, suppose you require to calculate moment of inertia about x-axis, then simply just you have to make an integration. That is because integration limit will become minus h by 2 plus h by 2. This is so because uh, the centroidal axis is located here. So lower limit will become minus h by 2 over here, and higher limit will become plus h by 2. So over here, lower and higher limit should be specified, and of course you have to multiply the area 2 times the distance in order to calculate moment of inertia. So over here, this is y square 2 times distance and area that we have already calculated. So by putting the values of area over here, you will have this relation, and ultimately by making an integration, you will find at the end the moment of inertia of rectangular section about centroidal axis. It will be bh cube divided by 12. You also keep practice and derive the relation for moment of inertia for other regular section like triangular section, circular section, hollow circular section, semicircular section too. Uh, uh, the derivation method will be remain same. For example, suppose there is a circular section, so we know that area is equal to pi by 4 d square. Ixx and Iyy will become pi by 64 d raised to 4. And Ic, that means the moment of inertia about C, that means centroidal axis, that will be the pi by 32 d raised to 4. So in similar way, you can calculate and derive the relation for moment of inertia about any axis in same way that what we have discussed in previous slide. Dear student, this entire lecture we have covered on moment of inertia, an introduction. After that introduction, we have also discussed about radius of gyration, two famous theorem, that is the parallel axis theorem, perpendicular axis theorem. And then we have also discussed about the derivation of some regular section. So this lecture will definitely boost up your knowledge regarding this specific subject. Still you are finding any difficulty or having any query, kindly inform me. We have the solution. Thank you for your patience for the attendance of this video lecture. Thank you very much.